Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Two Majors and a Minor, the Two Majors.
Hello.
And I'm very minor. So we're here again. We're going to talk some Cubs baseball. And we got a very special guest today. And we're going to get right to it and bring on Mr. Danny Rocket, who you can find somewhere in the bleachers on almost every Cubs game, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the bleachers are one of my favorite places to sit, although this time of year when the temperature's hitting 95 out there and it's humid, I tend to prefer a little shade, so you might catch me on the other side of the ballpark at this point. I like sitting up by John and Josh, actually. That's a good seat right there.
They're the best seats. They are really good, yeah. Even if I'm like unbiased, section like 310 through 320 on that infield where you're guaranteed shade from rain and sun and you get blooper foul balls are perfect.
Affordable.
Yeah.
You're in the game. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Don't tell everybody though. Because then I can't sit over there.
I feeling you just did. So that's but it is a good place to sit. I've sat there a couple of times. I've come to see you guys. It's a very good place to sit. But the bleachers this time of year, you're gonna get a little sunburn if you sit out there too much.
Yeah,
but,
I'm translucent if you're watching at home, and I have invisible skin basically.
There you go. I love these guys know you real well, so I'm going to have them ask you a bunch of questions. But tell us a little background. This is a perfect crossover: baseball meets music. So, for people who don't know Danny Rocket, give us a little background.
Well, I'll maybe start when I was a child. I was born in just kidding.
The year was
1974, and the original oil embargo crisis was happening, and
but gas was 30 cents a gallon, and I was there because I filled up my tank back then.
The country had just got off the gold standard, and we were. I was born to a very musical family. My mother and father met in an opera at the University of Michigan. They were both opera singers. My mother was a nun for 12 years of her life, left that after she met my father in this opera. And me and my sisters came somewhat after that. And there was a marriage in between. Don't worry, everybody. And and then we basically grew up singing. My mom was the choir director at a Catholic church my whole life. So we grew up cutting our teeth in there. She played the organ just like John and Josh does. She actually got to play the organ before her death a couple of years ago. She got to play at Wrigley Field, thanks to John let her up there. And she jammed out hard. Was it you? It was John. You let her in there, right? Yeah. And one of my fondest memories. But she was always playing music. We were always singing. People compared us to the Von Trapps. I moved to New York City when I was 20 with like Broadway stars in my eyes, and I accomplished that pretty quickly. I ended up in a Broadway show. I did the first national tour of Rent, and I did Jesus Christ Superstar on Broadway. But I really was always more of a composer, and so like my heart and the time that I wanted to spend 8 shows a week is really difficult. And even though I had success as a actor and a singer, I would much rather live in a van, apparently, with a rock band. So that's what I did for like pretty much that, through my late 20s and early 30s, and continued on that with various amounts of success. Songs getting placed in TV and commercials and on sitcoms and things like that. And then so I also composed for a lot of non-for-profit music groups in New York City as well. Possibility Project, which I was working with teenagers from all over the city. We wrote a musical every single year about their lives. And so we wrote a different one every single year, 5 different musicals with them. I worked for this group called Night Star, which they basically went to schools and did like health and sex education for kids. So we wrote a bunch of music for them along with the cast. So it was all very collaborative. And then I moved back to Chicago in 2012, and with really no idea what I wanted to do except for be close to my family and I had re-linked up with an old flame who I'm currently married to, Nicole. So we had dated in the 90s and then re-linked back up in 2012. And then so everything was kind of like changing considerably in 2012. And I decided, I'm going to write on this. I'm going to write a bunch of blogs about the Cubs. I'm going to follow the Cubs around, and I'm going to write parody songs about the Cubs, and we'll see. And I'll do that for a year, and I'm sure I'll get another job and get busy doing something else, and I won't do this Cubs crazy thing anymore. But what happened instead was I started this podcast, and I ended up started writing on Bleed Cubby Blue and posting all these parody songs and some original songs about the team, and a lot of them took off. And I got a little bit of footing within the Cubs community, writing Cubs music. And I said, let's do this. And then I linked up with Bleacher Jeff, who's kind of a infamous Cubs fan that sits out in the bleachers, thus his name. And he's a pretty good guitar player. And so we ended up making a band called Bleacher Bum Band, linking up with another childhood friend of mine, Jarrett Gable, who I've known since I was 10 years old or something like that. He just so happens to play bass, so he joined the band. We had a couple of other musicians that came and went. Of course, we've had about six or seven drummers so far in Final Tap fashion. Yeah. And but it's just been a really fun band to write for. We put out a couple albums and a bunch of parody songs over the last 14 years or something like that. I know, John, you've played on a couple of the tunes that I've written over the past. Not all of them were about the Cubs, but we've it's been a great muse having the Cubs to write about, because they play every day and there's always something different going on. There's always a narrative amongst the fan base that I can pretty much link into and entertain people with. So a lot of my time's been going towards that. And then over the last 4 or 5 years, I've been writing a musical called The Game, which also deals with baseball. It's a baseball backdropped musical. But it's really more about late stage capitalism and cancel culture and greed and all these things that people do to manipulate each other. It ends up in a big musical theater type farce. And it's a good time, fun show, but it's as a baseball backdrop. So it's not as one-to-one baseballish, but you'll recognize a lot of the baseballisms within it. And we're slated to produce that next year. So I'm in production on that already. We're already rehearsing that. And
very cool. That's a trapdoor?
It's going to be a trapdoor theater production, but the show is too big to do at a 40-seat theater. So we're probably renting the Edge, which is up on Broadway and in Edgewater. So it's just north of Wrigley Field, and it's a 100-seat theater. So we're going to hope to do it up there. We're currently putting together the casting it. We'll be putting together the cast album before we open. So we'll have that to sell and to help promote us. And other than that, I'm just trying to raise $60,000, which is what I need to pay everybody to do this, because it's a lot of people. And that's a lot of money. But it also, as I said, this Cubs community is very generous. People like to do things, was what I've noticed. People like to get things done. Not everybody can create a musical or be in one, but they certainly like their name in the program. So people are willing to give a little bit of money to make sure this stuff happens. So I have a bunch of plans for fundraisers, even one coming up. John Baker Day is coming up, which we've raised money for charity many times in the past, including Lost Boys Inc. We did Metropolitan Battered Women's Shelter. We did Cubs charities in the past, I think we've raised about $30,000 or $40,000 maybe overall over the past 10 years of doing it. It's been 10 years now. We didn't do it every year, but if you don't know who John Baker is, I know you guys probably do, but he was the Cubs' former backup catcher who pitched in a game, and he got the win in the 16th inning in 2014. I wrote a song about it, so I became friends with John. I think you guys are going to play it in a little bit, but anyway, we started throwing a really kind of ridiculous festival commemorating that game on July 29th, 2014. And this year we're doing an obvious shirt. So that's going to be a surprise. It'll come out with the next couple days, actually. We're going to be doing an online celebration because John now lives in California. He's already started his own mental skills coordinating private coaching business called Intentional Performance. So we'll be promoting that, and he'll be talking about his work as a mental skills coordinator for the Cubs through one of the hardest times to be a human in the year of 2020. He was the Cubs mental skills coordinator, helping guys through that difficult time. So he's a really interesting dude, and he worked for the Pirates for a little bit. Now he's off on his own. And so basically it's been a wild trip musically and artistically for me, and to, have it link up with the Chicago Cubs. It's like taking my two favorite things in the world, music and baseball, and finding the synergy in there. And I know you guys can appreciate it because the same thing's happening for you, John and Josh,
Yeah.
Well, that's what this show is about.
Right,
Putting
yeah.
Cubs baseball and music together.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a blast. We've been doing this now for what, 2 or 3 years now?
Yeah.
Off and on. Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been fun. And thanks to John, I got to play the organ at Wrigley Field one time also. And that was I had one thing on my bucket list, and that was it. So I'm ready.
Wow.
That's it.
Checked out. All right.
Any day. But so that's a blast. So John Baker Day, July 29th. I believe we do have a video to show regarding that. Could we go ahead and show that there, Nick? Is that ready?
That's kind of a long intro. Am I doing that?
John Baker, the Cubs' backup catcher, took the mound in the top of the 16th inning, pitching a scoreless frame. And then, in the bottom of the 16th, John Baker came to the plate and drew a walk. And then he got to third base somehow, at which point, Starling Castro hit a sacrifice fly, winning the game. John Baker finally won it in 16 on the most exciting sac fly this baseball fan has seen. But I sort of missed it. I was drunk as Charlie Sheen. The night the backup catcher got the win. The night the backup catcher got the win. The night the backup catcher got the win. Oh, they threatened us with handcuffs when we tried to sneak back in. The night the backup catcher got the win. The night the backup catcher got the win. It was the night the backup catcher got the
It was, I don't know if I was accidentally scrolling around in the song at first. Was that me doing that, or?
It was, yeah.
It was Nick.
That was me.
Oh, it was Nick. Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I was like, am I doing something? I don't know. It's like Ghost in the Machine, but yeah, that you heard the end of it. That's kind of a more punk song. I wrote that one actually like an acoustic version the morning after that game, because the story of the song has very little to do with John Baker. It has more to do with me being drunk at Wrigley Field and during that game. And you remember the old Captain Morgan's Club that was up in the right field corner. You used to be able to, like, at extra innings after they had stopped serving beer, you could still go into Captain Morgan's Club, let's say at extra innings, and you could drink a beer at the beginning of the inning, like the top of the inning. And then you'd be like, okay, they didn't score. Let's see if the Cubs walk it off. And then you'd finish your beer and you'd go back into the stadium. Well, we had been doing that, a couple times in extra innings there. So we were pretty lit up, the me and my friends. And then when we were outside, when we were in Captain Morgan's Club, we didn't hear the last call to get back into the stadium situation, which happened at midnight. So we missed that cue, and they were like, no, you can't come back in. You're done. And we're like, no. go. And so we went all around the ballpark trying to get back in. Security guards were not happy with us at some point. And they did. The guy pulled out his handcuffs and he's like, hey, so we can do this the easy way or the hard way? I'm like, oh, easy way, easy way. And we got out of there and we watched the rest of the game at the dugout. But, we did watch the end of that with John winning the game. I woke up the next morning not feeling my best, as you might imagine. But I did, kind of, well, I don't know, somewhere in me was that song. And I wrote The Night the Backup Catcher Got the Win. I put it on Bleed Cubby Blue, which is a Cubs blog, and kind of forgot about it. I forgot about that song. And then I get a message about a year and a half later from John Baker's father, David Baker, who was also a minor league catcher in his time. And he said, did you write a song about my son pitching in a game? And I was like, I guess I did. I forgot about it. I hadn't released it or anything. He just found it on a blog. And so anyway, we've recorded that song a bunch. We recorded it with John's brother, who's a trombone player who plays for the Lyric Opera.
Oh, nice.
Chicago. He's the lead trombone player there. So we've recorded a version with him. I don't think that was the version with the trombone. At least I didn't hear it there. It might be buried somewhere underneath the guitars. But we have another version. We have the original acoustic version of that song. I think we're probably done with it at this point. But yeah, so
That's the OG though.
Yeah, exactly. But to have John's brother is going to be performing on. We're actually celebrating on July 30th, which is a Thursday this year, because we don't want to get away of the Cubs game. So we're going to have an online, it'll all be on YouTube on the Son Ranto show, a regular time and feed at 7 p.m. on Thursday night. We'll have John on. We'll have his brother on. Maybe he's going to play us like something on trombone. I don't know what. I asked him to do it, but we'll see what he does. But very talented family, obviously. You got a professional baseball player and a opera trombonist, like at the highest levels. So very cool people. And, I didn't know that about John when I wrote a song about him, but it's, just one of those things that happened to work out great for me. And John, I'll say that. I think John's enjoyed it too, because he never would have thought he would have been like some weird Chicago Cubs folk hero for like the 60 games he even played as a Cub.
Well, statistically, he's the best Cubs pitcher that has ever pitched at Wrigley Field.
Yep.
Is that what
0.00 ERA?
Yeah,
sure. His whip is a little high because of the walk, I think.
Well, yeah, there is that.
But you got the double play, though.
That's right.
That's right.
The rollover grounder. You got to get it now.
Even better that he scored the winning run, that he drew a walk to lead off the next inning.
Yeah.
Then came around to score in the most manufactured style, move him over, move him in, sack fly, they win the game. So, just a weird story, weird baseball story, a play that probably will never happen again because of the modern game, even being more modern 10, 12 years on, because that was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
You're not going to see, the reason John even pitched in the game is because they were saving guys like Pedro Strop. They didn't want him to pitch. He had pitched the night before. They wanted to save him for the next series. So they're like, they weren't necessarily out of guys. You're not going to see too many position players pitching in tie ball games, and you're not going to see too many 16-inning games anymore with
that's right.
man. Yeah. So
Renteria teed him up. Like that was
exactly. Ricky Renteria with the W. I was one of about 69 wins that year, something like that.
Was it only 60? I thought they were in the 70s. I thought
they were in the 70s. I think that was like when we started to have hope.
Yeah,
2014 Cubs. Yeah, they might. I think you're right. I'll look them up right now, but yeah, they weren't that. But and that was one of the first songs that kind of said to me that, oh, this is like hitting a note amongst it's 73 wins, John. Better than 69, not by much, but we're there. It's there. Yeah, exactly. But it did give us hope. I saw at the end of that year, they did play a lot better. And you saw guys like Anthony Rizzo and Starlin Castro kind of coming in their own. So they
coming in
2015, even the first half of that year, I think people weren't really buyers on it. And then, anyway, that year that was kind of a formative year for me musically. I wrote a bunch of songs. I had a song called Missing Baseball because I had to pee, which people enjoyed, which was all about the opening day when there was still construction and they had to do the porta potties and there was a big porta potty line. They fixed it opening day. They weren't quite prepared for, but the next game they had plenty of porta potties for everybody. But
that's what diapers are for. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it wasn't the proudest moment, I think, for Cubs fans. That particular
opening day sponsored by North Shore Adult Diapers.
That's right.
Yeah. Exactly. They just missed the sponsorship opportunity.
Yeah, come on, 10 years later. But yeah.
But that song,
the best part of the remodel at Wrigley Field, though, was that they did indeed keep intact the tradition of the urinals in the men's bathroom.
Oh,
yeah.
The troughs are there.
Good old troughs.
I was lucky enough because I wrote on Bleed Cubby Blue for many a year, so I was lucky enough to do a lot of the tours to report on them for Bleed Cubby Blue. And I got taken around by, I forget the gentleman's name who was in charge of all the renovations at Wrigley, but he kind of oversaw the project. And I was in there with your Gordon Wittenmeyers and all your Mooney and all the sports writers as we're all being taken around, seeing all the new things around Wrigley Field. And when they brought us to the upper deck, there was all new bathrooms up there in the 300 level and all new concessions and everything. And would you know what those sports writers were most excited about doing? Is being the first ones to use those urinals.
Really? Wow.
They're like, oh, they got the troughs. Everybody was so excited that the troughs were back. I was like, you guys, like,
I can see Gordon.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of my way.
Yeah. So they, but
it's a rite of passage.
Yeah, Wrigley traditions. I mean, if you remember the old bathrooms, there was a sink up there. That was a big round sink, and like three water would come out of it, and you had to turn the sink on with your foot. It was a foot-operated sink. Well, let me tell you, it didn't look all that dissimilar to a trough.
There was some mix-ups in those days.
100%.
Yeah, my father had a little mix-up, and the ushers weren't too happy with him one time back in the mid-'80s, but we all have our Wrigley stories, that are as nefarious as that one. So
sure.
But
sure.
But yeah, the I love that you guys are talking about the intersection between music and baseball because it actually has incredibly storied tradition having music and baseball being linked up, especially like in the Negro leagues where a lot of amazing jazz musicians of their time owned part owners of teams. Louis Armstrong owned a team. You had the East-West game, which was just a huge celebration of music and baseball together that took place on the South Side in Chicago at Comiskey Park. You have the Kansas City, where the Negro League Museum currently is. The Kansas City Monarchs play. That was a main jazz hub. And so, this is just bringing it back to where it always had been.
Yeah, it really is. And that's something that she does need to be talked about more and more because a lot of people don't know any of those stories.
Yeah. Yeah. And even like those goofy Padres dads that released a song a couple of years ago that went viral for being so bad, I enjoyed it. And you'll see all these fans, they'll put together a song or a parody or something like that. But I enjoy all that stuff because anything that gets people singing together, what's our biggest thing? The stretch, everybody, inning stretch and the whole crowd gets up or, even to some extent, like the anthem at Wrigley Field can be that moment if the singer does it in such a way that it's sing-alongable, that it's just all like these musical moments coming together. We saw in the soccer match recently, everybody singing Country Roads. I don't even think that was planned,
right?
And just those big moments are just so beautiful. There was a night a couple years ago where I think it was Mexican Heritage Night or something like that. And they played some song that was famous by Vicente Fernandez, I believe.
Oh, it's by Volver.
Yeah.
And yeah, and everybody
best
went
one.
nuts. Everybody
Yeah.
was singing along, except all the white people. They're all looking around like, what?
What
I've
is
never heard
this?
this song. Yeah, what's but it was just an amazing moment. And just like those kind of moments in baseball, I love when they happen. And so
Well, in the best moment in baseball happens at Wrigley Field. And I don't think I'm saying it just because, okay, I am saying it because I'm a Cubs fan, but where else do you hear the game is over and for 5 to 7 minutes after that game ends, everybody is in that stadium. They're standing up and they're singing, "Go Cubs, go!"
It's great.
You know, and then you bring it in with "Sweet Home Chicago"
Mhm.
to walk out to.
Yeah.
And saves you guys a couple of minutes playing music.
Right. We
songs
love
we-
wins. Yes.
Yeah.
Because we just get to be a fan for a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and not only like that moment obviously is amazing, but Steve Goodman, who wrote that song, he was a huge Cubs fan, and he kind of wrote that as a reaction to another song he wrote, which wasn't as liked by the Cubs at the time, which was a dying Cubs fan.
Yes.
Which is also
Another great song. Yeah.
another great song that I think
So
kind of
good.
hits everybody. I've shed tears singing that song.
Yeah.
Still play the blues in Chicago. It's a wistful tune, and it certainly put me in the feels. And even though it's got a tongue-in-cheek sort of vibe to it, it has a wistful vibe to it. And Steve Goodman is obviously an incredibly talented musician and folk musician. Wrote for so many great people.
Yeah. Gone too soon.
Yeah.
But Eddie Vedder someday will go all the way.
Yeah.
His involvement with the Cubs. Billy Corgan being in the crowd, even though he didn't write us a song or anything, but he's oftentimes there, a big fan. So I mean, Cub fans. Who else? Jack White has been in the crowd.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wipes, yeah. So we got a fair amount of Cub fan musicians. I know the guy who what's the name of it? He's friends with Evan Altman at Cubs Insider. Not Flogging Molly. That's another band. I'll think of it. There's another keyboardist from another famous band he's
Humphreys McGee.
Humphreys.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That guy.
Tom Morello shows up every once in a while.
Yeah.
Tom Morello, another one. He just had a musical up at the Goodman. So yeah, it's a great story tradition, and people don't necessarily put all those things together. They don't even realize how important you guys are at the organ as far as setting the vibe goes. And like sometimes, we'll text back and forth during the game, and I'll be like, "Hey, Josh, that's a good troll of that guy," or, "Hey, John, that's hilarious that you played Ring My Bell for the guy named Bell," or things like that. We'll float ideas back and forth, but it really adds to the vibe. You'd miss it without it, but you don't notice it necessarily. It's just part of the overall atmosphere, unless you're paying attention. You might not realize that you're being treated to a concert as well as a ball.
Well, that's our expression. Like we're fans. We're blessed to be working for an organization that we're fans of and watching the game that we love. And we, instead of people cheer and they make rhymes and clap along and do their thing, but we get to do it with our craft, and you get to write songs and express your love and discontent or whatever you want.
Love, yeah, it's honesty.
It's always out of love, but it's like you're a talented musician. We're all musicians, and that's how we express the thing that we like. We get to do it.
One of my favorite things that happens sometimes when I'm sitting out in the bleachers is the kind of call and response that will get going. Like you'll hear Bleacher Jeff start banging on that drum.
Yeah.
And then you'll go in and you'll start kind of doing the same rhythm.
You catch that.
Because
I'll go along with their claps. And like, I have to. They started it. And that, because I'm a fan too. Yeah.
Exactly. So you're hearing the crowd. You're hearing kind of where we're all going. And when I was growing up, it was, Gary Pressey obviously had that job for forever and was a master organist. But legendary Cubs fan as well. Huge Cubs fan, knows every trivia
Baseball
question
fan.
ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but he would play some deep cuts from like the world of organists, which like there's some stuff that I've looked for. I'm like, I cannot find this song, like the Rain Delay special. I cannot find it. I've listened to every old roller skating.
You've asked me to play
album
that so often, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And you sung it to me how many times?
Yeah, I think you've asked me about that too.
No idea.
Yeah. We'll never find out what it is. I just need to go like through like old 1940s roller skating albums and stuff like that, you know. Hal Evans's greatest hits or whatever it is. Some kid roller skating on the front. But no, there's just people don't realize, and even like the songs that Whoop, there it is, or Who Let the Dogs Out, or stuff like that. It all adds. People don't realize though how much music plays a part and how much it's a giant concert.
Yeah, it really is. And Nico's here telling me we're starting to run out of time, but I definitely want to do another show if you're up for it at some point.
I'm always up for a show, brother.
Yeah. This would be fantastic. I do want to mention, though, you recently, and this is what I could relate to, because I was the minor league ballpark organist for the Quad City Cubs for a long time ago. But you sang the national anthem for the South Bend Cubs.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times. This one was really special because I didn't really realize that it was their big 4th of July celebration. So they were all wearing the American flag jerseys, and they had color guard out there, and some first responders with the flag and stuff like that. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is a special 4th of July performance. Okay, I better pull up. But I really enjoy singing that song. As much as I kind of wish the national anthem was America the Beautiful, just because I like the song a little bit more, like especially like the Ray Charles version. I just think it's really soulful and it speaks to me more. The other one is very specific. It's a poem set to a drinking song, and it's a poem about the war specifically about the War of 1812 and Francis Scott Key trying to get this guy out of a British prison ship who had been causing trouble during the War 1812. So it's just like this weird story that ended up as our national anthem somehow. People don't even know that story. They just, sit and sing it, don't even think of the words, but it's hard sing too. It's what 17
big range.
17 half steps, 17, 18 half steps, something like that. Mine's 18 because I go sharp somewhere in the middle.
17 and a half.
Yeah, starting the key of E, end in F, that kind of thing. Nobody notices those low notes. I don't get quite low enough, and by the end of it, I'm up there. But no, it's certainly an honor. I'd love to do it at Wrigley sometime. I would certainly be nervous for that. But I've never auditioned to do it, so I figured I'd get my feet wet over at South Bend Cubs. And I do it. I took all my advice from Wayne Messmer, who's, the as far as the Cubs go, that is the standard as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
So I talked to Wayne about how to do it. He said, you should sing it to try to get other people to sing it with you. So every single time I've ever done it, it's been with that. And I think about that before I start. I said, okay, if I sing it in too high of a key or do too many melismas and start riffing during this thing, nobody can sing and nobody can follow it. But if you do it straight and you do it in a key that everybody can do, and you don't go for the crazy notes and stuff in the middle or your own arrangement, then people will sing along, and they do. They want to. And
good feeling, I bet.
It is, and it's our national hymn. So to me, it's all something we should sing together. My mother used to say that that's how it used to be. It was never a performance. It was always something that we all sang together as a people. And I feel like, given the divisions that we face today in our society, that we should maybe do a little bit more singing together. And that could bring our vibes closer to where we need to be as a nation to move forward. But so I have these thoughts in my head as I perform. And, but it certainly is an honor. And thanks to Chris over in South Bend for letting me do it. And, it's a beautiful thing, and everybody singing together. It's my favorite sound in the world.
No.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, before we sign off, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we have a tradition on Two Majors and a Minor. We end with the 7th inning stretch, and our guest gets to sing it.
All
You be our
right.
guest conductor today. How
Do I
about
know
that?
the words?
Yeah, you know the words. Yeah.
All right. All right. Let me hear you good and
There
loud.
you go. Looking for more than just a piano? Discover the complete music experience at Piano Trends Music Company. Yes, they're known for exceptional grand and upright pianos, but that's just the beginning. Piano Trends Music also offers band and orchestra instruments, guitars, violins, digital keyboards, and everything musicians and students need to grow and perform. Getting ready for school band? Picking up a guitar for the first time? Maybe upgrading your instrument? The experienced team at Piano Trends Music will help you find the perfect fit. Plus, with professional repairs, rentals, and private music lessons all under one roof, Piano Trends Music is your trusted hometown music partner. Visit Piano Trends Music Company in Crystal Lake, pianotrends.com, where music begins and every instrument has a story.
Three, 2, 1.
Singing today's stretch, local musician, Danny Rocket.
Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out with the crowd.